Ah, Whitby. It's Christmas in Whitby. Pasties cost £6. The weather's broken. Krampus caused chaos. Security got hands-on. There was a pile-on at the War Memorial. The harbour's arguing with the fishermen. John Street is under 9 feet of snow. And Jesus has gone missing. Nothing is wrong. Everything is normal. This ain't no party. This ain't no disco. This ain't no fooling around, no time for dancing. This is the Whitby update. Buckle in. Get ready for blast off.
Take a photo for you again for internet for you on Facebook tonight.
The lobster boys are heading through the bridge. Today marked their last day at sea before Christmas. One final run. One last look at the pots. Then it's tools down. Tomorrow is Black Eye Friday, a long-standing Whitby tradition where fishermen, friends and family gather for festive drinks and the occasional poor decision. It's called Black Eye Friday for reasons best left unexplained. With easterly winds forecast, all boats have now been moved up into the safety of the upper harbour for the festive period, tucked in, secured, waiting it out. Because while the rest of Whitby argues about pasties, snow and a missing Jesus, the lads have done their graft. A quiet end to the year and a well-earned break. Right, quick interruption before we carry on arguing about Whitby. If you're enjoying this, don't forget to subscribe. It genuinely helps the channel and means Glenn can keep making these without resorting to TikTok dances, reaction videos, or pointing at text with his mouth open. There's also now YouTube memberships. Nothing is locked away, no paywalls, no secret videos. It's just for people who want to support what Glenn does and keep him roaming the town with a camera instead of getting a proper job. And if memberships aren't your thing, there's also Buy Me a Coffee. No pressure, no guilt. Think of it less as buying a coffee and more as preventing Glenn from buying another £6 pasty out of curiosity. Absolutely everything on this channel stays free. Everyone stays welcome. This is not a transaction. It's a mild suggestion. Right, back to the nonsense. Whitby now has a certain type of bakery, selling pasties for £6. £6. 6 whole British pounds. That's not a snack. That's a financial decision. Traditionally, a pasty is something you eat leaning on a wall while fighting off a seagull. Now it's an experience. Glenn bought one, seasoned with Cornish sea salt. Cornish. In Whitby, we are surrounded by sea. We are covered in salt. But apparently it's the wrong salt. Who pays these prices, I hear you ask? People who say it's a treat, and whole bundle of other pretentious types, we think.
Now, Karim.
Now then, lad.
How are you doing, lad?
Good card.
Meanwhile, just round the corner, it looks like the fisherman's wife may be getting a new balcony. And let's be honest, that is going to be one of the best seats in Whitby. A perfect place to sit on a midsummer evening, watching the sun drop straight into the sea beyond Sansen-Ness. The light fading, the horizon glowing, the gulls judging you, all while chewing thoughtfully on 64 quid's worth of lobster. It's progress. It's aspirational. And it's a gentle reminder that Whitby can offer the raw power of the North Sea, viewed comfortably from a chair with a napkin tucked into your collar and a very crisp glass of white wine in hand.
It's Christmas!
Happy Christmas, Bob.
And yourself.
Thank you, matey.
Hi, Stephen here. The tourists have gone, which means the easy times are over. No chips held at arm's length. No panicked visitors dropping food out of fear. No children crying while I maintain eye contact. Winter is hard, so until the fish and chip brigade return on Boxing Day, I've had to adapt, improvise, overcome. I'm currently breaking into bin bags on Church Street. It's not glamorous, but it's honest work. Found half a pasty earlier, £6 apparently. Didn't taste like value. Anyway, if you see me staring into your soul near a bin, mind your business. I'm surviving. Stephen, out.
Is that the Star of Bethlehem, I hear you ask? No, just Luke's new headlight.
Merry Christmas!
Cheers, David. Keep up that voluntary work.
I am, yeah.
Thank you, mate.
The Whitby Gin Distillery project is moving forward, with an opening planned for Easter. Anyone with a pigeon loft appears to already be invited. After we mentioned it last time, someone asked if Bender had a problem with the distillery. Let me be clear. I take the piss out of everything. That's not criticism. That's affection. I love the concept, I support the project, and I'll be there on opening night backing local enterprise and getting pleasantly inebriated with the pigeon fanciers. If I'm mocking it, it means I care. If I didn't, you'd never hear me mention it at all.
Happy Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you, mate. There's the boys, look.
While Normanby Terrace enjoys sunshine and unseasonably warm temperatures normally associated with an African country, John Street has once again been buried under snow for the 5th consecutive Christmas. Not a light dusting, not a festive sprinkle, 9 feet according to conservative estimates, with drifts well beyond that. Residents have not been seen since 2019. Supplies are low. Morale is lower. Peter's newsagent has gone bust as a result. Anyone who doesn't believe this is, of course, a miserable Grinch and part of the wider cover-up. Whitby Town Council say they are monitoring the situation, and all residents will get a mayoral award, also known as a piece of paper. A cone has been deployed.
Now, John, Merry Christmas!
Glenn and Riley visited St Mary's Church and observed the nativity scene. Mary was there. Joseph was there. Other characters were present. Baby Jesus was not. Possible explanations include Royal Mail delays, Amazon being low on stock, or delivery via Hermes, meaning he's currently in a village 5 miles away, marked as delivered. This is not a complaint, just a gentle inquiry. Mary looks ready. Joseph looks stressed. Everyone else is waiting. We assume all will be revealed in due course. This is the Farmer Jack Christmas special. Just a quick warning before we begin. This video is not for very young children, because some secrets still deserve protecting. Now, some of you may remember Farmer Jack from a video we made back in November, a time when common sense was suspended, the roads were closed, and Jack invited Glenn to come and help feed the family sheep in a blizzard with a foot of snow on the ground. 2 men, 1 camera. Questionable decisions. If you missed that one, you can find it at the link in the corner or down below in the description. Fast forward 1 month. And Glenn is invited back. This time not for sheep, but for Father Christmas in Egton. Because the surprise is this: Farmer Jack is Father Christmas. Every year the Hallam's gather at Jack's workshop at Jack Hallam Joinery. This is where the magic begins. Jack, his lads, and the wider family prepare for their annual journey around the village on a sleigh that they built themselves. Properly built. Lights, snow machines, the full works. Jack's brother and his partner come over for the day. They help drag the sleigh and Santa around Egton, handing out sweets to the local children. And once again, we see exactly what we saw back in January. Jack being a quietly generous, deeply community-minded man, doing something good because it matters. The workshop fills up. Jack's mum and dad are there. Brothers, sister, grandma, granddad, everyone pitching in. And Jack's granddad, it turns out, is a bit of a character himself.
Hello, Jack's mum.
Hello.
He casually admits to having been Father Christmas at the village hall in years gone by, which suggests this sort of thing might run in the family. Meanwhile, Glenn is collected from Whitby by Jack's wife and children. His car is in for its MOT, and Glenn is now travelling with children who believe completely and utterly in Father Christmas, which means the secret must be kept. Dad is working late. He won't get to see Santa with the kids tonight. Little do they know, of course, that Santa is Dad. Back at the workshop, preparations are in full swing. Jack's crew, Porrit and the lads are fitting the sleigh with lights and snow machines. Jack is getting into character. His sister arrives in her elf suit, joined by Jack's brother's partner. They will help Santa hand out the sweets. Then comes the tractor. Hitching up the sleigh takes a while. There is some discussion, some reversing, a 15-point turn, all of it deeply entertaining to Jack.
Jingle bells ringing in my ear. Jingle bell, a sound that's oh so dear. Frosty the snowman is all around town. Watch out for reindeers are falling down. We stay up waiting for Santa tonight. He climbs down the chimney at the speed of light, while we're dancing around the Christmas tree, hugging and kissing just you and me. Carolers are singing outside our door, lovely songs we all heard before, as they walk from house to house to wish us all a Merry Christmas Day. Oh, a Merry Christmas Day. Oh.
Eventually, everything lines up, and they are off. Glenn follows behind in the farm buggy, ready to jump out and film whatever he can. First stop, the top of Egton Village.
You know when it was snowing?
Snow and wet.
A large crowd of families has gathered, children bouncing, parents smiling, that very particular kind of excitement that only happens once a year. Then, a problem. The farm buggy breaks down. The plan to take Glenn down the bank to Egton Bridge is immediately abandoned. The lads push the buggy back to the workshop. A brief moment of panic. Then, like all good rural problems, it is solved quietly and efficiently. One of Jack's lads turns up in a Land Rover and gets Glenn down to the wheat sheaf, just in time for Santa's arrival at the pub. Perfect timing.
Come on. Is that for me though?
Afterwards, Santa and the crew return to the workshop for a quick debrief. And this is where something genuinely special happens. Jack's mum receives a phone call. She tells us about a thank you message from a family in the village. Their child struggles to leave the house, but tonight Father Christmas came to see him. She tells the story softly, with a tear in her eye, and she says how proud she is of all her children. And she's right. They have turned out to be fantastic humans. As the night draws to a close, there is only one place left to go. The pub, as every great Egton night eventually does. And Glenn would like to say thank you for being invited once again into the village, into the community, and into the lives of the Hallam family. With a special thank you to Becky, Jack's partner, who works tirelessly behind the scenes, pulling all the strings and making sure everything comes together. This was never really about Father Christmas. It was about family, community, and people quietly doing good things without expecting anything in return. And that really is the most Christmassy thing of all. Whitby is no stranger to change. We've had Vikings, we've had whalers, we've had Goths, and now we have the Marine Hub, or the Maritime Hub, or whatever it's called this week. A building so close to completion that you can almost hear the ribbon being sharpened. And judging by the reaction online, also a building that has managed the rare feat of uniting Facebook and Twitter in complete agreement. The reaction has been overwhelmingly negative. But social media does not always tell the full story. Plenty of people never comment at all. Not because they don't have an opinion, but because they don't fancy being jumped on by the loudest voices in the room. That said, the comments you're about to hear were posted publicly on the Whitby Gazette's open Facebook page, and once you start reading them, a pattern rather quickly emerges. Many focus on the scale. The building is described as too big, too tall, and out of keeping with its surroundings. More than one person uses the word eyesore, sometimes with extra punctuation. Others question the location. A recurring theme is that if something like this was ever genuinely needed, it belonged on an industrial estate, not on a harbourside car park in the very centre of town. Parking comes up a lot. There is frustration about lost spaces, about families spending summer afternoons driving in circles, and a quiet fear that people who can't park simply won't come back. One suggestion, repeated more than once, is that the building's most practical future use might be as a multi-storey car park. Some comments reach further back. People remember earlier developments being restricted in height to protect Whitby's skyline, and ask how those limits appear to have been quietly forgotten. Others question priorities. Why this, they ask, when harbour walls need repair, the cliff lift needs attention, and long-standing issues remain unresolved? Different people, different wording, but remarkably similar concerns. However, there are positive voices too, and they matter. One of the most consistent is Joe Redfern from the Lobster Hatchery. Joe believes the marine hub represents opportunity, a chance to support marine-related businesses, attract innovation, and help secure a future where Whitby's working harbour remains economically viable. In Joe's view, this is about investment, jobs, and keeping marine industries connected to the town rather than drifting elsewhere. And that view deserves to be heard. At the same time, there is another conversation happening, not online, but in the street, on the harbour, and in the pubs. And it's a conversation Glenn hears often. Among fishermen, harbour workers, and everyday townsfolk, the talk is less optimistic. The marine hub is described as an unwanted creation, a building with no clear purpose, something imposed rather than invited. There is also scepticism, a belief that the industries being talked about already have their bases elsewhere, in Hull, in Teesside, in places built for oil, energy, and large-scale infrastructure. The quiet question many ask is simple: why would they come here? Officially, this is a regeneration project, a modern workspace designed to support marine industries, innovation, and the future economy of Whitby. That is not my wording. That is the wording from the people who built it. Before we go any further, let's take a breath and look at the official line on this project, because there's a fair bit of detail that's been quietly ticking along in council reports and planning documents. The building you see rising at Endeavour Wharf is not some spontaneous idea. It stems from a government scheme called the Towns Fund, which in 2020 awarded Whitby and the surrounding area £17.1 million to spend on regeneration projects. From that pot, £10 million was earmarked for this maritime hub, backed by North Yorkshire Council, and set out as a way to diversify the local economy and support marine-related industries. Official documents show the total capital cost of the scheme is about £10.162 million, with roughly £10 million coming from the Towns Fund and a small additional contribution from the council itself. That's a lot of money by local standards, and it's being spent on what the planners describe as workshops, training spaces, harbour facilities and offices, all intended to underpin fishing, marine services, research and, crucially, offshore renewables jobs. Even before a single brick was laid, more than £1.2 million had already been spent on the project through feasibility studies, surveys, detailed designs and resolving planning issues. That includes ground investigations to make sure the site, right on the edge of the river, could actually handle the building and its flood-resilient design. Planning permission was granted in August 2024, despite more than 50 formal objections from local residents who said the design and location didn't fit with the character of the town. Council leaders at the time talked about positioning Whitby at the forefront of expanding offshore industries and creating new job routes for young people, even while admitting there are risks around construction costs, parking impacts, and future occupancy. Whether that vision plays out in reality, well, that's exactly the question many people are now asking. Construction is now nearing completion. The building stands prominently on the harbour side, and whether you like it or not, it is very much here. What makes the reaction to it particularly interesting is that Whitby has been here before. In the late 1990s and early 2000s, the town was asked directly about development on the harbour side, not once, but twice. On both occasions, the answer was clear: no. And yet decades later, here we are, standing in front of the largest new structure in the immediate area, built on land the town once voted to protect. As things stand, the building is almost complete. It is taller than anything around it. It dominates views that once belonged to the river, the boats, and the sky. And as of today, there is no obvious public indication of who will be moving in. Of course, that may change. Time has a habit of doing that. Perhaps the marine hub will become a thriving centre of innovation. Perhaps it will be hailed as a bold success. Or perhaps it will simply stand as a reminder that regeneration is not just about buildings, it's about consent. Because talk is cheap, and in Whitby, time tends to do the talking. If you want more local stories like this, the good, the bad, and the awkward, feel free to subscribe. It helps more than you'd think. And someone probably should keep an eye on Whitby.
awesome.